All right, black power, power to the people. This is the most honorable prophet. Today we're going to talk about epigenetics. Epigenetic. Epigenetics. Epigenetics. Go look that word up. And post-traumatic slave syndrome. We all heard of post-traumatic syndrome. That's when you experience some trauma from your past and you relive it and you experience it throughout your life. And it's sometimes, a lot of times, it can be hereditary. Well, same thing with post-traumatic slave syndrome. This is what's wrong with the black community and black people today. We're suffering from 400 to 500 years of slavery and the Jim Crow era. Post-traumatic stress, post-traumatic slave stress syndrome, and epigenetics. Epigenetics show how post-traumatic slave syndrome and post-traumatic syndrome works. Epigenetic is the study of organism caused by modification of a gene expression rather than alteration of a genetic code itself. In other words, you can alter people's feelings and behaviors and their moods without altering the DNA. I'm going to show you that and explain it to you later on. But just think about a baby cat. How a baby cat know by nature that a dog is his enemy. You ever see a baby cat arch his back in fear or in resentment or in opposition of the dog? That's epigenetics. It's embedded in the cat through epigenetics. That's kind of what Willie Lynch syndrome is about. Embedding fear in the slaves through epigenetics. Go look that word up, epigenetics. That's the scientific proof that you can put fear in a child through the mother or through the environment. You know, your kids can sense fear, and that fear gets into your DNA, and it can be passed down generation to generation. It doesn't get into your DNA because it doesn't alter it, but it latches onto your DNA. I explain it to you in a minute. Epigenetics, and post-traumatic slave syndrome. I'm gonna explain it to you in a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, now here's how epigenetics works. Okay, whenever you whenever your body feels fear, anxiety, or any kind of trauma from the environment it is around, what do your body do? Your body produce a chemical. Your body produce a chemical called estrogen. When you think of estrogen, you think of females because most of the time estrogen is related to females, but guys produce estrogen too. Not a lot of estrogen, but they produce a little estrogen. And as guys get older and older in their years, they produce even more estrogen. Estrogen. I keep saying estrogen. Estrogen. Okay. So when your body uh, feel anxiety or stress or anything, it start releasing a bunch of estrogen all over your body. Estrogen is molecules, and estrogen is a receptor. Okay, and it latches onto your DNA. I'm gonna draw your DNA. Your DNA is usually a string of protein, and it's usually written like this with another string wrapped around it. And what you have is two strings, a protein string and a string of information. And in between these two strings is coded information. Your race, the color of your hair, your behavior, attitude, your size, you know, et cetera, et cetera. That's your DNA. And what happens when you worry and you stress, uh, your body releases estrogen. And estrogen, like I said earlier, is a receptor. And what it does is it latches onto your DNA. It latches onto your DNA and it ties into the information. See, that's what the oxygen estrogen does. It latches onto your DNA and changes your mood, your behavior. It can alter your feeling, your behavior. That's epigenetics. This is how epigenetics work. Your body worry, feel fear, or whatever, it releases estrogen. Too much estrogen can give you cancer and other kind of diseases. But what estrogen does is it latches onto your DNA and alters your behavior. Okay, so remember that word, epigenetics. 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 And that's how it works. That's how Willie Lynch did it, through fear, planting fear in the mothers and in the slaves, making them release extra estrogen in the body, and it gets into the DNA and it puts fear into the kids from generation to generation. And it can be reversed. You can reverse it through healthier foods, eating more greens, getting meat out your diet, and thinking positive thoughts. You can reverse epigenetics. Okay? This is the most honorable prophet. I'm out.